Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. Yo, I'm Mark, your host. Joining me, we got Christian. What's good, man?
Hey.
Back to learn a bit about the galactic star systems with me, eh?
Yeah. Some space geography.
Geography. Yeah. We love our geographies over here. We also got Gerald joining us. Yo.
Hello, I'm here for some good old cosmography. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the cosmographer himself. Yes, what a fucking name that is. It was fun doing these episodes. Today we're going to talk about the Ultima Segmentum. I've done a couple segmentums on in notes so far, so I kind of know what's going to happen, but learning about them was pretty cool. I got some proposals in this episode. I'm going to run past the administratum, but we'll get to that later. We're going to talk about the Ultima Segmentum. But before we do, let's do some quick housekeeping. Come join the Discord. There's, I don't know, memes and minis there. I don't know what else should I say about it? We don't have like naked women on there. That's you got to go to other places. But if you like memes and minis, that's the place to be for sure.
You might get an occasional naked picture of Mark, but
yeah, I didn't say naked men. Yeah, you're fine.
Plenty of those.
Plenty of those running around there on that Discord, but the women, no siree.
Slanesh will be proud. But you can also join the Patreon too. And for just $2.50 per month, you can have ad-free versions on Spotify because fuck ads, honestly. And for $5 a month, you can do the video, join the live chat, get to see all of our faces, and me throw technology around because some demon apparently decided to invade my equipment and pissed off Astor. So.
Yeah, you had a demon in your like painting lamp thing, and we heard this squealing.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is it? We're hunting it down, flipping mattresses over. Is it Gerald's?
Mm-hmm.
No, but it was
performing exorcisms, getting the right oils and everything. That was a task.
Yeah, Patreon dollars gets rid of fees or problems like that. I find you throw enough money at a problem, it goes away. Away.
Yeah. And remember, rocks are not free, as we learned in the my last episode.
This stuff costs. Come on.
Yeah. Another benefit to joining the Patreon is to join the live stream, and you can join us in the live chat room during the show. Send us your filthy little comments.
Like this one.
James says, Lil, do you guys know I watch live for free? Yeah. So when Christian looks behind that banner, it's just James back there.
Watching. He can't hear everything.
Watching,
he can only see us.
Waiting.
That's all he wants, though. That's all he needs.
Just the visuals. And also, benefit to the live stream is sometimes, occasionally, very rarely, when we feel like it, you can call in at the end of the episode and we can chat.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's not worth your Patreon dollars.
Screening process. It's kind of like you drop a link and then if people click it, that's pretty much the screening process.
Do you have a computer?
We have a very sophisticated vetting process.
It's fun. Every now and again, I drop a different link in there too, like the virus links, and really just cause chaos that people won't ever even know about. So come join the live streams. It's fun. Let's talk about the Ultima Segmentum. So this episode, we're going to go over a couple things. We're going to do a little recap on the Segmentum Majoris. I think I just have a quote because it was super cool, and we've gone over it, but we'll do it again because there's a fun quote about that. And then we'll get into the Ultima Segmentum itself, starting with the Great Rift, which leads to the question of, I got to steal Logan's joke there of redistricting. We got to do we got to redistrict this galaxy? The Great Rift ripped it in half. So we're going to talk about how I would redraw it, and we'll see if you guys agree. And then we will go into the Segmentum Fortress and the Battle Fleet Ultima. And then we will get into the captor sector of Baal or Baal, I guess, depending on how you want to piss people off by saying it. And then my proposed capital sector for the south side of the Rift. And I won't, you got to wait to hear what I propose there. And then we'll do some celestial objects and we'll talk about the Eastern Fringe, which is kind of neat. And the whole segmentum of lore that we'll kind of try to cover in the next little bit.
Yeah. Some say the Ultima Segmentum is the best segmentum. People like me.
Yeah, what came first? Like, did Gilliman name the Ultramarines, the Ultima Segmentum? Like, where did this start? You know, is this the chicken and the egg of naming?
What was the Ultramarines' names during the before the legions found their Primarchs?
Yeah.
Did they have a different name? Because you could probably answer that question.
I'm Googling it real quick, but
yeah.
oh, the
Warborn.
Warborn. No, never mind.
Warborn.
No. Sorry.
Right.
That was a quick AI thing, and that just doesn't. You think
It
that's
sounds
right?
right to me. Yeah.
Okay. You know, these Google nowadays, you can't trust it. It pulls up an AI bot. And speaking from experience with those things, you can't trust them as far as you can lick them. So whatever, fuck them.
I don't know. I can look pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, while you search that, we can get started here.
Yeah.
All right. The Ultima Segmentum. Segmente Majoris. Actually, do you want to read this quote, Mark, or Gerald, who has a beautiful reading voice?
Yeah, Gerald, do it. He did it last time.
Oh, is this the one I did it before? This looks like it. Yeah. I'll just use my same Gandalf voice. And henceforth be it known that the Imperium shall be divided into 5 fleet zones to be known as Segmente Majoris. These shall each have a segmentum fortress, from whence the orders of his glorious magnificence the Emperor shall be enacted. Imperialis command, decoratum, shall reside in each, and with just duty be issued over the realms within their boundaries. For the segmentum solar, this shall be Mars, world of the Adeptus Mechanicus, and this segment shall extend about Mars. In the north of our most majestic domain shall be segmentum obscurus, being in fiefdom to the world of Cipramundi. To the south it shall make segmentum tempestus, with overlordship residing with the planetary estates of the hereditary Baca. To the west shall be segmentum pacificus, under the auspices of the lords of Hydrafur. The most turbulent east, a region of much strife and dissension, and of many lost worlds, shall have its overlordship known as the Ultima Segmentum, and its guarantor of safety shall be on the planetary governor Car Janash. The segment fortress of the Imperial official of the Administratum shall be known as the Master of the Segmentum Solar. Lastly, the region of the Segmentum Pacificus and the Master of the Ultima Segmentum. In this, the Emperor is most benevolent, and thus shall the Emperor's charges be authority over such domains and reside with those who have the faith and temperament to dictate to the will of those others and take from them that which is the Emperor's due. Imperial Decree M31.
Yeah, that's a lot of words. I love your voice. You know, I don't want to take away anything from it because I kind of was. What do you take away from all that? It's a bunch of words and names and stuff, but we'll get into it now. Yeah, basically that whole quote will give you all the segmentums and their names. They'll give you segmentum fortresses, locations, all those kind of fun little details in there. You know, and then you can click those fun little links and you learn a little bit more about them. But
I like how they describe to you the different lords and stuff that will be in charge of each one. Slightly disappointed with all the Segmente Majoris. I never saw where the Labia Majoris is. I've been looking at it for forever, and I hear the capital world is called Clickers.
Oh yeah, cooking with that joke, man. Oh man,
I've been sitting on it for a while.
Yeah, man, that's so unexpected from you. I love that. My God. Okay, clip it. Clip it.
No. Also, just to confirm, the Ultramarines' old name was the Warborn. So
cool. Okay.
All right.
So they obviously, I think, adopted the name after the Ultima Segmentum. The Segmentum Ultima, sanctified by the Emperor's will, yet cursed by its distance from Holy Terra, sprawls eastward across the galaxy. Within its heart yawns the profane void of the galactic core, a realm forbidden where the supermassive black hole devours all beneath its silent judgment. The fortress world Car Duneash shields Ultima, consecrated as bastion and shipyard of the Imperial Navy. Here, beneath banners of the Aquila, officers are forged through pain and prayer, while Dominator-class cruisers are raised as steel testaments to the Emperor's wrath. Largest of the sacred segmenta, Ultima bears the Emperor's dominion upon more worlds than any other, though each teeters on the edge of damnation. Here lies Ultramar, the fortress realm of the Sons of Guilliman, guardians of Imperial order. Beyond its border festers the eastern fringe, where the Astronomicon's divine flame burns faint and faltering. In this benighted dark rise orc empires, heretic corsairs, and apostate Tau, and the blasphemous swarms of the Tyranids, each a scourge upon mankind's ordained dominion. Since the Great Rift's unholy sundering, half of Ultima has been cast into the Imperium Nihilus. There, the Astronomican's radiance is veiled, and billions wander blind. Their only hope to endure is in faith. That event in silence, and the Emperor's light shall yet guide his loyal servants. Baal, the blood-soaked bastion of the noble blood angels, from this crucible arose Commander Dante, whose burden of command now marks him as Lord Regent of the Dark Imperium. Just kind of giving you an idea of where the Ultima Segmentum is. It's interesting because in the first episode where we talked about this, Mark mentioned that the entire map is kind of offset. It's centered on Terra, not on the actual galactic center. So this is actually where you'll find the true center, the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy. And then from there, eastward, it expands out as the biggest of the segmenta. It actually covers almost a quarter of the galaxy just by itself.
Yeah, easily, if not more. Yeah, it's weird because they're not drawn in perfect shapes, but yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's so big that the light of the Astronomicon doesn't reach the far side of the galaxy, and that's where we get the eastern fringe where Xenos can live in peace.
I wouldn't call it peace. The Ultra Boys show up. But yeah, that's why you have Tau, you have the Tyranid invasion coming to the galaxy from that corner of the galaxy, and then Orc empires in that distance. So very cool.
Yeah, and then the other thing, the Ultima Segmentum so big, so you can break it down too into north and south, which we'll get into. But the Great Rift has kind of done that itself. And we got on the one side we got Ultramarines, and on the other side we got and so much more, obviously. And then on the other side we got the Blood Angels and Baal and Dante.
Yep. And speaking of the Great Rift, I got this little section right here that talks about it. The birth of the Great Rift tore reality asunder, sundering the Imperium and casting the Segmentum Solar into a nightmarish divide. One half of the Emperor's domain remains bathed in the Astronomicon's holy radiance, its fleet and navigators still able to ply the stars by his divine beacon. The other half lies smothered in the unnatural dark, where the light of Terra falters, and every voyage is a prayer whispered into the abyss. For those upon the far side, every day is lived beneath the shadow of damnation, their cries for salvation swallowed by the warp's hollowing void. Across this sundering expanse, desperate pioneers and sanctioned navigators have clawed new routes through the shifting madness of the rift. These passages, fickle and perilous, promise fleeting lifelines to the Imperium Nihilus, yet they are unstable and treacherous, closing as swiftly as they open, betraying whole fleets to the warp. Thus, though tenuous bridges of faith and steel reach across the chasm, the truth remains unaltered. Nihilus is abandoned to its isolation, left to endure in silence and terror, cut from the Emperor's gaze. In this age of twilight, the Imperium turns to its greatest champions, Reboot Guilliman, risen from legend, rules from Ultramar as the Lord Commander of the Imperium, striving to uphold what order may yet be preserved. Yet even he cannot span the gulf of the rift. Thus, on the far side, duty falls to Commander Dante of the Blood Angels, crowned Lord Regent of the Dark Imperium. He bears the unbearable burden of guiding the lost half of mankind. Upon Baal, scarred and ashen, his throne stands as a beacon of mortal faith, fragile against the endless dark, yet unyielding in service to the Emperor.
Yeah, so, man, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love the Great Rift. I feel like a lot of IPs threaten to rip the galaxy in half, You know, they'll write storylines, but they never will do it. But 40K finally did it. It took them 25 years, but they ripped the galaxy in half. And I love it, man. And now we got a whole bunch of new things to play with, where we got the Dark Imperium with Commander Dante. And I love that, like, we just did the Blood Angels episode, and in that we learned about Sanguinius being, like, kind of the figurehead, kind of a spiritual, like, leader for maybe not a spiritual leader, but like the icon of the Imperium during the Great Crusade. So I like too that now we're in 40K times, Commander Dante of the Blood Angels has taken that kind of like that heroic, iconic kind of leadership role again. It wasn't just passed on to like the Salamanders or some other random founding.
I find it kind of funny how, like, the quote I read at the very beginning was the declaration when they were splitting the galaxy into the segmentums. Like, they specifically avoided naming any Space Marine homeworld to serve as, like, the main capital or fortress. But yet, now we have Gilman back as the Lord Regent on one side, and Dante as the Lord Commander on the other side.
Yeah, we're just setting up for Heresy 2.0. It's fine.
I mean, the Primarchs are coming back piecemeal. Might as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that is fun. Yeah, I do like the two characters that we got set up. In the chat, people are kind of fun, given that they're guessing the Ultramarines pre-name. Blueberries, no, that's not it. Raspberry, girly man,
one.
nope. No, that's no. Yeah. But yeah, we got now kind of the galaxy is kind of naturally redrawn itself now with the Great Rift. So I here's my proposal to you guys and the administratums listening as well there. We need to redraw the segmentums. We need to add 2 more. So we got the original 5. I would list them, but that's just gonna boggle our brain again. But we need to add 2 more. Basically, we're gonna add an Ultima Nihilist segmenta and Segmentum Obscura Nihilist. So basically, where the Rift broke the galaxy in half, it only cut 2 segmentums in half. So we're basically making the Nihilist segmentum, and then the lowest segmentum is just holding the regular name. So within the labyrinth halls of the Administratum, hushed voices have dared to consider a redivision of the Administratum's realm, or the Emperor's realm, a cartographer of necessity wrought by the wound of the Great Rift. Some propose that the northern galactic reaches of the Segmentum Obscurus be sundered into north-north and south-north, or Segmentum Nihilist Obscurus and Segmentum Obscurus, while the vast Ultima Segmentum to the east be cleaved into northeast and southeast, or Nihilist Ultima Nihilist. Wow, even just saying it all back to back is like, holy whoa. Tripping myself up. It's fun. Ultima Nihilist Segmentum and Ultima Segmentum. The imagined borders are not drawn by mortals' will, but by the abyss itself, the gaping scar of the rift cutting the galaxy like a judgment made manifest. Yet such discourse is perilous, for to redraw the Imperium is to acknowledge a fracture, a truth many would consider or consign to silence rather than admit that half of mankind lies forsaken in darkness. You've talked before, Christian, about like the Roman Empire and kind of how this happened to them at some point, where half of it kind of got cut off. Maybe you could expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, actually, I was going to bring that up again. I said this a long time back when the nihilist thing first happened. I thought this is the direction they're going to go with 40K, since it's like informed by history or history adjacent, I guess. But yeah, you had a division between the Eastern and Western Roman empires, where you had Rome as the capital, obviously, of the Roman Empire, but eventually it shifted over and became more Hellenic, with the Greek side based out of Constantinople, later Byzantium. And became like the Byzantium half of the empire. There's a I don't know if it's true. I think it's a legend or like a myth that the double-headed eagle. It's a very common motif in a lot of European countries now, like Russia, Romania, a lot of like Eastern European countries, or stuff that was formerly part of the Holy Roman Empire, which had the double-headed eagle.
Heck, even the USA, the good old USA has the double-headed eagle.
That double-headed eagle specifically, though.
Not a we don't have a double-headed eagle.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like
no
Rome. Rome had the one head, and then allegedly Byzantium was the second head. I don't know that that's true because the double-headed eagle motif is actually older than Byzantium and Rome. But whether or not that's true, the idea is like two capitals.
Yeah.
In 40K, obviously, the two capitals are Terra and Mars. But yeah, little side. But
yeah, so well then like my thought is like if we're just teasing, you know, what could happen, like what happens once they kind of fracture like that? Do they eventually go to war? It just kind of degrades slowly?
Yeah, like the Latin side will collapse first, invaded by barbarians or orcs, which would actually be officially like Rome. So that'd be like the Terra side would fall. And the nihilist side actually becomes the dominant faction.
Interesting.
If they follow that,
well,
I don't think that's where they're going.
Well, no, but like, okay, sorry, Jared, go.
The eastern half of the empire lasted until like 1453 when the Ottomans took it too. So it carried on for a good bit.
And like the Crusades.
Yeah, and up until then, they always considered themselves Roman. They weren't necessarily called the Byzantine Empire in its time.
They were very Hellenized, though.
Yeah.
So going off that kind of thought of like the Rome side actually falls first, and if we flip that into 40K, like, hey, we know what's coming. The Tyranids are coming. They're coming for Terra. They're on like that southeast side of the galaxy. I don't think they're as prominent on the north side of the rift. There are Tyranid fleets up there, but I feel like, yeah, okay, if we're going with that, Tyranids, it's been stated they're going for Terra now, like, you know, whatever that really means. But
yeah,
fun little thoughts.
Yeah, it could be. Like I said, so many years later, it's very obviously that's not where they're going with this. That was my hope. I will propose a couple of alternative names though for your nihilist halves of your redivisions or redistricting.
Yes, okay.
Just because Ultima and then Ultima Nihilist is just not very
it doesn't logically compute. Yeah.
You could have the meta segmentum, which is beyond. It means beyond in Greek, which Ultima means the furthest point, so it'd be beyond the furthest point.
Okay.
So the meta segmentum, and then this one's kind of lame, but I kind of like it. But the Atlantic segmentum, because you have the Pacific segmentum, so you need the Atlantic.
Yeah. That one I don't know if I like as much, but the meta.
Hear me out. Okay, Atlantic, Atlantis, Lost City. You could have a planet that was lost or the lost side of the Imperium. There we go.
It's all coming together. We're just playing 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon here, where we can connect anything. I feel like. Yeah. No, I like the meta one. So then the other one would be Segmentum Obscurus Meta. Does that work kind of too?
No, I would split. Do the Northern Ultima half because meta is beyond Ultima, so it'd be Ultimate Segmentum, and then the northern half would be the meta.
Yeah. So then for the Ultima Obscurus, what would you how would you divide that one?
Ultima Obscurus.
Yeah. So
Segmentum.
The Segmentum Obscurus.
Yeah, that's the one that I would do the Atlantic or Atlanticus segmentum, because then it's also close to the Pacificus segmentum.
Okay. Yeah, so I see. Let me know in the chat, send me an email. jamescomplaints@gmail.com.
Throw it right in the trash.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Gerald? Do you like those?
I'm undecided.
Okay. Yeah. I went with Nihilist, just seemed easy.
Yeah. Simple enough.
But
right. Well, we'll go on to the Imperium Nihilist. The Imperium Nihilist, cast adrift on the northern side of the Great Rift, is a fractured half of the Imperium, where light, order, and reinforcement from Terra can no longer reach. Within Segmentum Obscurus Nihilist, the ruinous wound of the Eye of Terror spreads its corruption unchecked, while shattered bastions like the ruins of Cadia stand as grim monuments to the lost defenses. To the east, the Ultima Nihilist Segmentum suffers no less, with worlds left isolated and besieged, their faith and resolve the only barriers against alien marauders, and the ceaseless tide of chaos. Across both regions, the war rages on, and while they can no longer rely on the Imperium, they too will fight the dying of the light side by side.
Nice.
Kind of going back to what you were saying about like, okay, where would we go with this? I don't think that Terra should fall on this one side. I think an interesting
Unless it's
take
by
would
the
be to
Grey
actually-
Knight's hands, but that's a different story.
Yeah, of course. Yes. But something that could be an interesting take would be to move one half of the galaxy into more of like a broken down version of the Imperium, because obviously it would be the nihilist side. And they reflect kind of like a dark age of Europe, where like things are even more disjointed than what the Imperium looks like now. There's a lot more like marauding bands of like chaos and things in between little bastions of like order. And then on the opposite side of the galaxy, with the Primarchs returning, you kind of get them back on this like not a great crusade, but like back to normal Imperium, almost like a 30K Imperium, where things are a lot more functional and ordered and governed well, and not as corrupted and falling apart. And that way, you could have like the two contrasting sides of the Imperium.
Yeah. Okay, that is fun, and then like you kind of get to very different vibes almost. I think 40K needs almost like the less grim dark place, which could be that place with the Primarchs there. It is that order, you can bring 13-year-old kids into that area safely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where then you go onto the north side and then you can have some 30-year-old, adult conversations about what kind of shit's happening up there. Yeah, no, I don't mind that. That's fun. That's what's land.
I mean, I like the idea of that. You got the noble bright Primarchs like Gilliman, maybe the Lion, to have your better, your more kid friendly stories and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then you can always have crossover. Like, it's not like they can't cross, but it's tough. It's not something that's happening regularly or often. So then you can still move around into both, keep a foot in both worlds if you wanted to, or your chapter of Marines can go between or whatever else. Could launch crusades into the dark and stuff like that.
I've talked about how splitting 40K, they should have split 40K at 8th edition into like 45K, brought the Primarchs back. It's kind of like a different setting. Like then you have 30K, 40K, and 45K. But this, I kind of like this because it does that same thing where you get that noble bright, kind of a very different vibe. Very cool. Okay. So as we go through the segmentum, we've mentioned that there's segmentum fortresses and segmentum fleets. So the first thing I did was, where is that segmentum fortress? And it was, in fact, on the north side of the Great Rift. So on the Ultima Nihilist segmentum, the Ultima Meta segmentum, and this is called Car Dunnish. Car Dunnish is an Imperial bastion world, the fortress stronghold of the Ultima Segmentum. Upon its hallowed grounds rise the academy where new officers of the Navis Imperialis are forged, their minds tempered for the endless void. Above its vast orbital shipyards birthed the Iron Leviathans war, Dominator-class destroyers, vessels wrought to burn the galaxy's heretics and Xenos. In the era Indomitus, says Primarch Reboot Gilliman, rose from deathless legend, and the Great Rift split the stars. Car Dunyash found itself stranded within the Imperial Nihilus, cut off from Terra's guiding light. Worse still, its borders bleed perilously near encroaching Tau Fifth Sphere, whose blasphemous reach claws ever closer. To shield the sacred warp lanes to this fortress world, the Emperor's armies bled in the Kalanath expanse, their sacrifice ensuring Car Dunyath endures as a beacon of defiance in the endless night. Cool.
For a world that important, I'm surprised we don't know much. We don't know much about it. I've never heard of it before. And then I quickly checked the lexicon page while you're reading, and they don't have a lot of information on it. Like, it's not really well developed.
I'm trying to find a Google image for it just for the sake of the viewers, but I can't find anything concrete.
Yeah, well, it's tough to look past that, the Great Rift. It's hard to see on that side of the galaxy what's going on. We don't really know, I guess. Where on the other side of the galaxy, so we need to redistrict. I'm going with the whole redistricting concept. If we got that as the Segmentum Fortress on the north. On the south, we need a Segmentum Fortress because it's not protecting each other. It's up there. It's gone. It's lost to the Imperium in my mind. I've given up hope. But I nominate McCraig as the Ultima Segmentum's new capital their Segmentum Fortress. So McCraig is an Imperial world, a bastion of civilization on the southern reaches of the Eastern Fringe. Within the Ultima Segmentum, it serves as the ancestral homeworld of the Ultramarines chapter and their capital of their dominion, the realm of Ultramar. Through the cradle of order and loyalty, the planet itself is harsh and unforgiving. Its surface dominated by jagged mountains and barren uplands that make up more than 3/4 of the land. Few dare to dwell among the inhospitable heights, save for the Fortress of Hera, the indomitable citadel of the Ultramarines, perched upon the craggy peak and shielded by impervious mountains that surround it. Yeah, so I think, that makes sense to make that the fortress. It survived a Tyranid assault at one point. Now it's got Reboot Gilliman living there. That makes sense.
It's the capital of Ultramar, the 500 worlds. Yeah, I'm actually surprised it wasn't always their fortress.
It goes back to the question I asked earlier about, like, they specifically avoided Space Marine homeworlds.
So. Yeah, and I wonder, maybe we need to find when that Segmentums were broken up, if it was like the Emperor is charting out into space, or if it's 200 years into the Great Crusade. Like, do they know about these Primarch's homeworlds at this point? But right, I guess if they're naming stuff all the way across the galaxy, they've been there. They know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Maybe it was just part of the plan because like the Emperor's original plan was to not have the Primarchs of the Space Marines take control. He was going to give the Imperium back to humanity.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I do like that it's not always like, oh, the Ultramarines are they both rule their own segment of space. They have their 500 worlds, and they're the fortress capital of an entire segmentum. Like, okay,
not even Matt Ward would be that bold.
Oh man, so you guys aren't vibing with that choice. I fucked up. Okay.
No. I like it after this cataclysm happens.
Yeah,
it makes sense that that's where they would go. I'm just saying I'm surprised prior to this that wasn't already the case.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that was the case.
We're good. We're good. Out the window.
as it is now, that's a good idea.
Okay. So going a little deeper into McCraig, the Fortress of Hera.
Yes. So the Fortress of Hera. It is a monument to the might and discipline of the Ultramarines. Rising from the valley of Laponus beside the roaring cataract of Hera's fall, it was wrought by the hands of Primarch Reboot Gilliman in the age of the Great Crusade and stands as a marvel of martial architecture. Towering golden domes, slender glass walkways, and silver steel buttresses combine with vast domed citadels to create a fortress that is both cathedral and arsenal. Graceful balconies overlook the jagged peaks, while each spire and dome embodies the chapter's devotion to the Emperor, a beacon of light against the eternal darkness that encroaches upon Ultramar's borders.
Yeah, cool. Got a little more details there of kind of a place. That place gets wrecked a few times, I think. We talked about them fighting off a Tyranid High Fleet there. They also fought off the 13th Black Crusade there.
During Gulliman's resurrection, they're literally like fighting in the halls of the fortress.
Yeah. I love that. I love that some of these places get so close and destroyed, and over 10,000 years it gets, rebuilt, and fun. Just built on skulls and bones, man, of centuries, millennia.
That is the Imperium. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Battlefleet Ultima. Battlefleet Ultima is the steel fist of the Ultima Segmentum, a vast armada of the Imperial Navy tasked with defending thousands of star systems from Xenos, heretic, and warp-born threats. Its strength is almost unaccountable, stretching across hundreds of warships from towering battleships and cruisers to nimble frigates and strike craft, each crewed by tens of thousands of souls sworn to the Emperor. The fleet's heart lies in the fortress orbitals of Karduniash, where orbital shipyards churn out new warships, and vast docking spires hold the fleet in readiness for the Imperium's endless wars. Battlefleet Ultima patrols the Segmentum's warp lanes with relentless vigilance, projecting Imperial power into the void, enforcing the Emperor's will, ensuring that no enemy may strike without meeting the fury of his angels of death and iron. Do you think Battlefleets scale with the size of the Segmentum?
Yeah,
and
and like importance as well. Like, you know, Segmentum Solar or Soul has to have a huge one. You know, Terra alone has just infinite. So yeah, I think it scales for sure.
Yeah. So this would be then, in theory, the biggest, if not one of the biggest, battle fleets, just based on geography.
Yeah. There's a couple that compete. Like not other Segmentum fleets, but there are some fleets like Battlefleet Gothic is pretty huge. We'll talk about in a coming episode. But also coming up soon in this episode, we'll talk about Battlefleet Ultramar. Because if we're splitting everything, we need to split that. They're a big fleet, but they can't get across that rift. So essentially, you need new communication. Because it's not just you can't get across it. You can't get messages across it. You can't get communication.
Yeah. And when you say can't, to be clear, very limited. Yeah. It's possible, but very
You don't
difficult.
Place bets on it for sure, you know. You don't run an empire on it.
Sir, we ran empires on horses and messengers. I think we can make this work.
One cool thing about Battlefleet Ultima, though, is they do produce the Dominator class cruiser. And you know, I don't think that's exclusive to this Segmentum, but it is going to be predominant there.
Yeah. The Dominator class cruiser is a weapon of the Imperial Navy, a warship forged to hurl death across the void. Born from the forge fires of Karduniash, it is a vessel of unrelenting purpose. Originally wrought as a fleet support engine of destructive or planetary assaults and grand engagements. Its design was to stand aloof from the melee, its colossal Nova cannon rending the enemy from leagues away, turning hostile fleets and heretic worlds alike into ruins before the charge was sounded. These ships are the Iron Children of Battlefleet Ultima, far more common there than in the shadowed ranks of Battlefleet Obscurus. The heart of their birth lies in Karduniash's orbital crucibles, where countless Dominators have been hammered into being. Their flanking batteries roar with fury, rivaling the Retribution class itself. Yet the Dominator... Is it Dominator or Dominator? Is that how you spell Dominator?
I say Dominator.
Okay, I'm going to call it Dominator. The Dominator yields range to its greater cousins, for it trades endurance for the burning might of its singular weapon, the Emperor's wrath-given form, the gravimetric fire. Conceived as a planetary scourge and a bulwark for the wine, the Dominator exists to unleash the annihilating fury of its Nova cannon. Its place is behind the fleet, where its terrible bombardment scythes through the void, pulverizing xenoswarms, traitor squadrons, and apostate worlds. Karduniash births the majority of these engines of war, and though rare within the cold fleets of Obscurus, their legacy was carved in fire by the hammer of justice during the Gothic War, where their devastating volleys turned stalemate into victory. In Calixis, only a single vessel of this class remains, the Astrum Aste, still prowling despite centuries of relative calm. The sector may brood with cults and hidden heresies, but without great fleet battles, the Emperor's heavy fist is seldom required. Thus, most of Dominators are hurled instead into endless crusades, their Nova cannons tearing open the void against the galaxy's most turbulent frontiers, ensuring no rebellion, no alien, no apostasy can hope to stand. Each Dominator is birthed from the iron bones of a lunar-class hull, reforged with the steel-clad prow and the sacred Stygius pattern Nova cannon. Their broadsides mount macro cannon batteries rather than lances, the diverted power feeding the hungering maw of the Nova cannon itself. Every detail of their form is sacrificed is sacrifice. Crew, lives, hull mass, and range all offered upon the altar of greater devastation.
Man, okay, like this is one of the coolest ships in 40K. I didn't know about it fully in detail. Like I've heard of the Nova Cannon so many times, and I'm like, yeah, it's just like a fucking plasma cannon essentially. But let me read you a little detail about it. The Nova Cannon propels explosive projectiles close to the speed of light and has a distance of 10,000 kilometers. So yeah, you know, when we're talking space battles, like they're often kilometers, could be 100 kilometers apart up in space, like no big deal. And to have a Nova Cannon that can shoot just boom instantaneously across the void as opposed to counting torpedoes 1 minute till impact. What a cool gun.
Yeah. Yeah, and then same with like calculations and stuff too. Like you have to calculate where you're shooting at in order to hit another moving target so far away. But this thing, where it's aiming,
yeah, it's where it's aiming, whatever it's.
Although even in space, yeah, but even in the scale of space, even the speed of light doesn't seem that fast sometimes. But there's the fastest weapon you're gonna have for sure.
Well, maybe let's do one quick math here. 10,000 km into the speed of light. Like how long does it take for it to go 1 km? Oh man, that's a lot of calculations it's giving me. That's too much math. Just give me the fucking answer. 0.0003356 seconds it takes to like cross that 10K. So yeah, that seems wild, man. Like I don't know if they would go much outside that 10K range, but like I don't know enough about space combat. I haven't done it. I haven't been to space.
What are you talking? We've all been to space. We're in space right now.
Yes. We're just a blue marble screaming across the infinite cosmos. That is the void.
Oh god damn, I didn't know that. Fuck. Yeah. Nova Cannons are sweet.
Yeah. Some other interesting facts about them is that they're 5 kilometers long, the ship itself, and has a crew of 95,000 souls.
Yes.
So she's a big gal.
95,000 heroes in my mind. So yeah, pretty cool fleet. So on the southern half of the rift, I nominate Battlefleet Ultramar, which is different than the Ultramarines strike cruisers and like their chapter fleet. Like, you know, we have the 500 worlds, and Fleet Ultramar actually protects these 500 worlds. So I you know, it just once again makes sense. You just keep going with it. You know, it's already such an established empire. Keep laying it on. So Battlefleet Ultramar on the southern side of the Great Rift. The Imperium relies heavily on the might of Battlefleet Ultramar, anchored in the bastion realms of Macragge and the wider realm of Ultramar. Unlike Cardunish, an ancient Segmentum fortress steeped in millennia of Imperial tradition, the Southern Fleet's strength is drawn from Guilliman's realm, its fortress worlds, and the formidable shipyards scattered across Ultramar's systems. The fleet is not only supplied and repaired at Macragg's orbital docks, but also draws support from allied forge worlds such as Connor, whose shipyards are famed for turning out entire squadrons of escort craft and strike cruisers. Battlefleet Ultramar is less centralized than its northern counterpart, existing on a loose but resilient network of fleet bases spread across Ultramar's many fortified worlds. This redundancy was a deliberate design by Guilliman, ensuring that no single loss would cripple the fleet. While Cardunish guards the Rift's northern divide, the Ultramarines' docks and star fortresses serve as the southern anchor of the Imperial strength, forming a shield of void steel against fire against the endless tide of Xenos heretics and demons. Yeah, pretty good nomination, man. They got 500 worlds. They have at least 500 ships, then I would assume. Quick math.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it makes sense. Like we were saying before, like it is the next viable group.
It is cool that they have like a whole fleet like this there. Once again, I learned so much just doing episode notes myself, where the deeper you dive, you're like, oh shit, there's a whole fleet or like mercantile fleets. Technically, all these segmentums have their own mercantile fleets as well as the like actual battle aspect. So
Absolutely.
Lots of moving pieces.
Oh yeah. Like chapter serfs are like the unsung heroes of the of any functioning Space Marine chapter. So show them a little bit of love now. Come on. But now we go from Battlefleet Ultramar to the Ultima Nihilist Segmentum.
Yeah, so we're going to the north side of the rift. So we've kind of covered the south a little bit, but we're jumping up north.
Wasn't there like a theoretical, like the Nachman Gauntlet was like on the far western side of the rift? That's like the one choke point you can get from point A to point B. I think wasn't there like a theoretical one near Ultramar?
I don't know if that's near Ultramar. I'm just kind of googling it now, but
or like that section of the rift. I should probably clarify.
Yeah, and then we also have the Tau where they have their like Startide Nexus, which is more of like a wormhole, and that goes from the south to the north as well. So if the Imperium recaptured that, because you don't need to be Tau to use that thing.
Fair point.
So there's a couple ways back and forth.
Yeah. I like Alpha Primus' comment here is most scientists rip on space combat in sci-fi settings for not being realistic.
Huh.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Anyways, the Ultima Nihilist Segmentum lies on the cold, dead side of the Great Rift, where the light of the Astronomicon fails to reach and the warp churns with unholy fury. This northern expanse is a crucible of darkness where entire systems have fallen silent and heresy festers unchallenged. Among the few beacons of hope stands the Blood Angels chapter led by the indomitable Lord Dante, whose vigilance keeps the Emperor's light alive amid the void's malevolent hunger. From their fortress monastery on Baal, these warriors of red scour the Nihilists, fighting ceaselessly against the ravenous enemies of mankind. The Imperium Nihilus itself, as the Emperor's most distant front, is a testament to human endurance, a realm where sacrifice is absolute and heroism is measured in countless acts of blood and fire.
Hell yeah, brother. Good time over there. You can get away with murder up on that side of the galaxy. It's good time.
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. What if the Imperium Nihilus goes with a Western theme?
Yeah, motherfucker, I'm in.
So it's the Wild Wild East this time.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we got the Gene Stealer gunslinger guy, so we got some models out there for that.
Why not? Let's experiment with different genres.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, Star Wars has done it to varying degrees of success. So why can't 40K?
Heck yeah.
Why can't 40K? All right. Well, let's get into the capital sector of the Baal system. The Red Scar is a hellish sector of the Ultima Segmentum. It's thousands of stars burning with a crimson fire that casts all worlds and void gas clouds in the color of spilt blood. Life here is brutal, for the scarlet suns emit ferocious radiation that twists the flesh and steel alike, making survival a constant trial. Yet the Red Scar is rich with rare ores, exotic minerals, and warp-significant phenomena, so the Imperium has carved out settlements across hundreds of star systems, paying the cost in billions of lives to claim even a foothold in this cursed expanse. At the heart of the Red Scar lies the Baal system, a nexus of war and devotion to the Emperor. 5 principal worlds circle the star Baal, their orbits steeped in legend and blood. Baal itself is the homeworld of the Blood Angels chapter, sacred to the Emperor's angelic sons and the resting place of their Primarch Sanguinius. Its moons, Baal Primus, also called Baaland, and Baal Secundus, known as Balfora, are scarred by millennia of war. The gas giant set adrift solemnly at the system's edge, accompanied by the sprawling asteroid field, while Keru, a harsh sentinel world, remains lightly settled, guarding the inner systems. Skyfall, the Blood Angels' fleet base, bristles with the might of the chapter's warships, ever ready to strike. Beyond lies Amer, a distant frozen world whose long orbit spans 6 centuries, and the outermost Ammonai, a sentinel of the edge of the Emperor's domain, marking the limits of Imperial control in the Red Scar.
So, at what point do we got to give the Blood Angels some grief here? You know, we talk about the Space Wolves getting a little like wolfy, but we talk about the Blood Angels and all their blood stuff. You're telling me they live in like a part of the galaxy called the Red Scar, where the planets look like they're all covered in blood, like the skylight's just blood. Like,
I've only been saying this for the past how many episodes I've been on Warhammer, so
we didn't listen. We were fools. We didn't listen.
I feel validated.
Yeah, and like I know they got like blood shard ammunition and like
Blood Raven drop.
You know,
no, never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think
What
the
are the
cup
blood
is
strike
half
missiles?
full of blood now at this point, you know, that we can just chalk them into the same kind of thing as the Space Wolves and call them faggots. It's just that's the way I feel about it, but I love them still, you know. I never knew about the Red Scar. Sounds like a great place to live. Tell me more about Baal Primus, and Baal Secundus. Okay, Mark. Well, Baal, the desolate cradle of the Blood Angels, is the seat of the fortress monastery. The Arx Angelicum, carved into the poison wastes of their dying world. Long before the Imperium's banner flew, Baal and its twin moons were scourged by mankind's own hand, torn apart in the cataclysm of viral plagues and nuclear fire during the Age of Strife. Once green and thriving, the moons became ash-stained husks, their atmosphere stripped to choking ruin, while Baal itself was left a desert of red rust sands. In those dark centuries, the survivors became scavengers and warbands clad in crude rad suits, fighting bitterly for scraps against the countless mutant hordes birthed in radiation's shadow. By the time the angel Sanguinius descended, Baal and its moons were wastelands ruled by the blood, a fierce tribe of pure-born men, and their endless war against the mutant abominations. Through their Primarch's guidance, the mutants were broken. The Blood Angels rose, ascendant, and Baal was reforged into the anvil, which the 9th Legion's future would be hammered. During the Horus Heresy, Baal poisoned deserts became the bastion of loyalty under Warden Arcad. The shattered legions found sanctuary amidst the irradiated sands, and through traitor forces laid siege for long years. They could not break the world that Sanguinius had claimed. Centuries later, Baal endured the green tide of orcs, the warlord Big Scorcha, whose hordes were annihilated in the fury and fire by the sons of the angel. Yet the greatest trial came at the dusk of M41. High Fleet Leviathan fell upon the system like a living tide of fangs and hunger. In the shadow of the Great Rift, Baal was stranded in the Imperial Nihilus, alone and forsaken. The swarms pressed to devour it utterly. The devastation of Baal left Baal Secundus a poisoned ruin, and Baal Prime scoured barren, its surface desecrated with the skull sigil of the Blood Angel's eternal nemesis, Kabenda. Yet even amidst the annihilation, the chapter endured. That's a whole story we'll get into at one point here. When the Indominus Crusade broke through, Gilliman himself brought fire and steel to Baal, reforging the chapter with Primaris reinforcements. The demon's mark was erased in orbital bombardment. Its blasphemous purge in holy fire and Baal, though scarred, bleeding, and forever haunted, remains a citadel of defiance at the edge of the galaxy, drowning in the night. Yeah, Baal's kind of interesting. We'll go kind of back to the Horus Heresy. It was this kind of cool place, I guess. I didn't read this book, but Warden Arcan and the Shattered Legion. So, like, these are warbands that, you know, were broken. They could have been salamanders from Istavan that, you know, they're just shattered legions that kind of reformed. So it kind of made this stronghold. So Baal has this kind of like reputation for kind of making these like groups come together and kind of hold it, like this place of like, no, we're going to protect this place. We're going to die for this place, even though it's just like a barren desert.
Yeah, it also, even the Necrons seem like they're willing to to join that alliance.
Yeah, that whole thing gets all crazy, man. We got the Necrons, we got like Kabunda, we got Tyranids I quickly mentioned, and you're just like, what happened there? But
It's almost like the Fall of Acadia, where it's just like they're trying to throw in as many factions as you can think of.
Yeah. You're telling me at the eve of triumph of the Tyranids devouring, Kabunda's like, now's my time to chat, ha ha! Like, yeah, okay, but whatever, it's all good. So we nominate that planet. Actually, we don't. Gilliman did. So fight him on it, not me. And on that planet, we got the Arx Angelicum, their fortress world or their fortress monastery.
Speaking of Arx Angelicum, I don't know if this is official artwork, but it looks pretty good. So
good enough for me. Fuck yeah.
There you go. The Arx Angelicum rises from the poisoned sands of Baal like a mountain carved by the hand of gods. Its silhouette etched against the sky of rust and ash. Forged during the Great Crusade, it was built vast enough to house the entire 9th Legion, a bastion capable of withstanding the fury of a galaxy in fire. And if anyone had seen or had listened to our 30K Blood Angels episode, I think we determined it was 130,000 Marines at some point or around that point. So that's a lot of Marines to fit. But after the second founding, when the Legion was sundered into chapters, its endless halls and titanic vaults fell into shadow, many abandoned and forgotten, save for the ceaseless labors of the tens of thousands of blood thralls who still dwell within. Over centuries, the dust storms of Baal entombed its outlying bastions until the Lord of the Blood Angels, Commander Dante, unearthed them at the dusk of the 41st millennium. It was here, amidst the red storms and crumbling catacombs, that the Arx became a fortress of fortresses, a place where the sons of Sanguinius and their successor chapters assembled to meet High Fleet Leviathan's endless tide. In the devastation of Baal, the walls of the Arx ran black with ichor, its sanctums drowned in the tide of Tyranid swarm, until only the Dome of Angels and its battered defenders remained. It was there that Dante stood, scarred but unbroken, the last wall of humanity at the edge of annihilation. Though the devastation left the Arx Angelicum in ruin, Dante, regent of Imperium Nihilus, has turned wreckage into foundation. With the resources of half an Imperium at his command, he has begun rebuilding, not merely a chapter's fortress, but a citadel of empire, a mirror of the Imperial Palace itself, a throne from which the sons of Baal might rule the void of Nihilus. The Arx is hewn into the bones of a dead volcano, its twin peaks crowned with the scars of war. Within its caldera rises the Arx Muris, a colossal encircling wall of blackened stone and ceramite, a barrier shielding the Dome of Angels, sacred heart of the chapter. Here, amidst the shattered reliquaries and halls lit by votive fire, lies the shrine of Sanguinius. Ever bathed in the glow of dying suns, the Arx Angelicum is more than a fortress. It is a mausoleum for the fallen, a temple to the angel, an unyielding gate against the abyss of the Great Rift. So long as its walls stand, the Imperium Nihilus has a heart that still beats. Pretty badass.
They went hard on it. You touched briefly there, and I think I want to jump back to that point of 140,000 Astartes were there. And that was before this kind of rejuvenation of the place. Yeah. And then you got all the chapter serfs that would accompany that, all of the extra stuff. You could be talking about a million population city. Then you run into the problem. It's okay, we got all these gun servitors everywhere, so we need more servitors. So you build more quarters, but then you add more gun servitors. So then you need more quarters to man the gun. And it's a vicious cycle.
It's never ending. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to point out the serfs being called blood thralls, another checkbox in the blood.
We did it. Bloody right, Christian. Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to make a chapter called the Blood Wolves, and I'm just going to combine the worst of the Blood and the Space Wolves.
I think there is a Space Wolf chapter that fell to chaos called the Blood Wolves, if I'm not mistaken.
Hopefully they have all the punny names.
Yeah. Yeah, they do exist, and yeah, they did fall to chaos. So then maybe you need to make the Wolves of Blood.
Hey.
No, it's
there's a lot of
Wolf
good
Angels.
out there. The Wolf Angels.
That sounds like furry. If I ever heard one.
Yeah, the wolf angels. Oh my god.
Just a wolf with angelic wings. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, now I'm cooking with gasoline.
Yeah, man. Yikes.
Okay. Give me a month to develop this. I'll come back. I'll check in.
Oh Lord.
In the meantime, let's go over to Skyfall. I believe that's James Bond's home, if I'm not mistaken. Skyfall is no mere starport. It is a world unto itself, a fortress cathedral adrift in the black. The colossal planetoid station, built upon an ultra-scale framework, serves as both sanctuary and war arsenal for the Sons of Baal. Across its surface, the etched star map of the Imperium burns with the argent lumen, a sacred chart of mankind's dominion. Even as the galaxy crumbles into night, rising above it, dwarfing mountains, stands the Angel, a statue 20 miles in height, its sword alone 7 miles long, raised heavenward like a defiant blade against the void. Command of this hallowed bastion falls to the Blood Angel's 8th captain, known across the Imperium Nihilus as the Lord of Skyfall. In the wake of the devastation of Baal, Skyfall...
Now that is James Bond, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go dig into the chapter records and see what this dude's name is.
8th captain has to be James Bondus.
James Bond. Okay, I'm on. I'll look.
In the wake of the devastation of Baal, Skyfall was reforged, not merely restored, but remade into the crown jewel of the Baal system, an anchor of hope in a sea of shadow. Now, as Dante labors to forge Baal into the capital of the Imperium Nihilus, Skyfall has become its beating heart. Thousands of jetties lance outward like the arms of a star-forged Leviathan, each docking with fleets of warships, pilgrim convoys, and crusade flotillas that gather at the Angel's call. Here, tech priests from distant Forge worlds swarm like ants over steel titans, tending to reactors, refueling Leviathans, and rearming vessels for eternal war. The forges of Skyfall thunder with industry, birthing vessels of battle as easily as they mend the broken. It was in these sanctified docks that the battle barge Baal's Fury was wrought, one of countless warships destined to carry the wrath of the Blood Angels into the abyss. More than a starport, Skyfall is a fortress realm, a symbol carved in adamantine and light, proclaiming that even in the darkest half of the galaxy, the sons of Sanguinius will not yield.
Fucking died. Yeah, I love that this mirrors the Imperium now so perfectly with like Terra and the Phalanx, and you got Baal and Skyfall, and both of them are these like shitty dead worlds that like humanity's just clinging to.
Yes, humanity would never fight over a desert forever. That doesn't sound like
oh yes.
Or not. That's where we're gonna stop right there. Do you think that giant angel statue you can actually like go inside of it, or if it's just like solid all the way through?
Yeah, like carved from one piece of metal or something crazy like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there the things you
what's
wonder.
the tourism like in 40K?
I mean,
I know terrorism's booming, but
but tourism. No, but you kind of say that as a joke, but pilgrimage is like a big thing.
Yeah,
like,
I suppose.
You have Terra, what is it, Ophelia or something OPH.
Yeah,
for the capital of the ecclesiarchy. And then you have like Baal, like you have these places where pilgrims do go and like venerate. So I'm sure there is something akin to tourism there.
Mm-hmm. A lot of shrine worlds kind of act as like a sites of pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. What would you rather have? Like you go into the head of Skyfall, or like they shoot you into this like little drone that like takes you around the statue, you know? Well, would you rather look at it, you know, or from it?
I think it's cooler to look at it. I mean, space looks the same from any angle.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So then maybe like wherever like the command places close to that, you can have like a viewing dock, whatever.
Yeah, I was just thinking for functionality though. Like you put that much effort into such a massive statue, and that's it. It's just carved out of stone. Like Or does it actually have a purpose? Is it like a command center? Are there like little people inside, like in the head doing like operations or something?
Yeah. Is it just a giant battering ram spike? Maybe.
That is the Imperium secret weapon. They're going to launch that thing
Yeah.
into the Eye of Terror. Plug it
Yeah,
right
next
up.
Blackstone. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense for that side. Gilliman decreed it. All that's very cool. I went to some of the other chapter worlds, and kind of just got the vibe of it. And like, you can go to Nocturne with the salamanders, and it's just not the same like fortress, same like grandeur. Like most of the other ones are either on the south side or they just weren't that same overpowering awe. So yeah, now we jump to the south side, the Ultima Segmentum. To the south of the rift, the Ultima Segmentum remains a bastion of stability, dominated by the realm of Ultramar and the indomitable Ultramarines chapter. Here, the light of the Astronomicon shines clearly upon the orderly systems where law, loyalty, and martial honor are enshrined. From Macragge and the Fortress of Hera, the Ultramarines extend the Emperor's will, their fleets and warriors standing as the hammer of righteousness against the Xenos traitor and heretic alike. The southern Ultima Segmentum is a realm of heroic vigilance where civilizations persist and the disciplined armies of Gilliman's sons enforce the Imperium's dominion, even as the shadow of the Great Rift looms ever nearer. So the non-canon capital sector obviously has to be the realm of Ultramar. Ultramar is the feudal dominion of the Ultramarines chapter, a bastion of order and martial prowess within the greater Imperium of humanity. Its world are exempt from imperial ties, instead offering their wealth, resources, and manpower directly to sustain the chapters of the Emperor's Angels of Death. The rules of each world are feudal lords sworn in service to the chapter masters of the Ultramarines. For this reason, the leader of the Ultramarines carries both title Lord of Ultramar and Lord of Macragge, wielding the full authority and obligations and solemn duties such noble station demands. Like all worlds in the Imperium, each planet raises forces to defend itself, known collectively as Ultramar Auxilia. Yeah. Unlike most worlds, however, the wealth and discipline of Ultramar ensures that these forces are not only sufficiently for local defense, but form hundreds of regiments capable of serving in the Astra Militarum in the galaxy's deadliest wars. Many of these regiments fight alongside the Ultramarines themselves, while each world provides fresh recruits for the chapter, forging new heroes in the Emperor's service. Across Ultramar, proud citizens point to statues commemorating their sons who serve in the chapter. Among the old noble houses, producing a space marine or even the master of the chapter. It is a mark of prestige that echoes across generations, bringing honor, renown, and enduring legacy. Ultramar is divided into 5 regions called Tetrarchs, each under the oversight of a tetrarch appointed by Boot Gilliman himself. Each region maintains a capital world, though all recognize the ultimate sovereignty of Macragge. These tetrarchs are charged with expanding Ultramar's dominion across the stars and their assigned direction. The northern region centers on Connor, governed by Severus Egerman, of the first captain of the Ultramarines. To the south lies Andernmung, and ruled by Captain Porton of the Genesis chapter's second company. The western tetrarch is based on Protos under Captain Balthius of the Doom Eagles chapter. The eastern region orbits Vespatar, once governed by the Southern League, following the devastation of Sothan by the High Fleet Kraken. It was reorganized under Decimus Felix Primaris Ultramar and the 11th captain of the Ultramarines. The central region remains under Macragge itself, overseen by Chapter Marinius Calgar, encompassing the core star systems of Ultramar, save those within the northern Tetrarch's remit. Yeah, so, this is like a little mini Imperium, even the way it's all divided. And we've seen this before, even in the Horus Heresy, when they formed the Imperium Secundus. But this is like a little mini Imperium, even how it's broken down into these 5 different areas with 5 fortresses in each, and yeah.
If the system works, why break it?
Yeah, I guess. It is cool too that like the Ultramarines play such a leadership role, lord role. Like feudal is not a level of technology. It's like, it's a system of rule, essentially, where you got where you got lords and serfs. And serfs are a little different than slaves, sure. But it's kind of cool that they got this system set up like that. Not all chapters do. And then that they are even willing to share it with the Doom Eagles and the Genesis chapter. I'm sure many other successor chapters have had a go of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Running some of these places. Cool. Yeah, so let's get into kind of the core worlds that make up Ultramar. We're going to get into 486, I believe, of the 500. So let's get after it.
All right, some of the core worlds, and we have Endermung, the capital of the Southern Tetrarch. Endermung is a hub of governance and a feudal oversight. We have Calth, also known as the Cavern World, which is a civilized world. Calth is an airless world whose people dwell in the vast underground cities, shielded from the deadly rays of its blue sun. Its subterranean halls rival the splendor of Macragge itself, though it produces much of its own sustenance via nutrient vats. Calth relies heavily on imports from wax, renowned for its orbitals. Or is that Iax? I don't know. Renowned for its orbital shipyards, it forges the vessels of the Ultramarines and craft ships for wider Imperial use. The world was scarred by the Horus Heresy, where the word bearers sought to annihilate the Ultramarines and prevent their aid to Terra. Yeah, Calth is I think the book is called The Mark of Calth, if I'm not mistaken. That is a pretty big Ultramarine goof. And
a little bit of a sore spot there for sure.
Absolutely. And we can talk about this more when we actually cover the Ultramarines and the word bearers, but someone did make an argument that the word bearers should be the actual poster boys for the Chaos Space Marines as opposed to Black Legion, but I digress. They made a compelling argument though.
Yeah, that would be a fun episode. At the end we can make some stuff like that, some arguments once we've broken down all the prior marks and stuff. Some what ifs, Emperor's Executioners, all those kind of fun things for sure.
Oh yeah. We also have Espendor, which is a cardinal world, a distant forested world. Espendor's cities cluster on its western continent. Its inhabitants descend from Macragge explorers stranded during the Age of Strife, living hardy lives among the untamed wilds. It's the least densely populated world of Ultramar. Kind of makes me think of like a Caliban light almost.
Almost. Yeah, a little bit.
And then we'll get to the Forge world of the system, Gantz. Gantz is a moon of Connor and is an ancient Forge world producing much of the Ultramarines' arms and armor. It was also home to the Titan Legion, Legio Presidius, shattered by traitor forces during the Battle of Calth. And then we have the Agri world of Iax, known as the Garden of Ultramar. Iax was a fertile jewel of agriculture. Its fields and woodlands meticulously tended. The planet served as a hospital world during the Plague Wars, but was devastated by the Great Unclean One, Kugath, and the Death Guard virus bombardment, leaving only ruins in its wake.
Oh, bummer. I almost found a home for the farmer and his wife. I almost found
Not anymore.
Not anymore. What we do is dirty, but not that kind of dirty, the farmer says.
Next up, we have Connor, which we've mentioned a few times already. It's a research station. Connor is a founding world of the Ultramar, historically a forge world of the Adeptus Mechanicus, now designated as a research station. Its moon, Gantz, retains full forge world status. Though independent of the Lord of Ultramar, Connor relies on the Ultramarines for protection, and its manufactoria largely serve the chapter. It is the capital of the Northern Tetrarch.
Yeah. And one thing to note, too, these planets are spread out across, they're not in just one solar system. They're we talked about how this is broken into those 5 sectors. Like they're across all of them. But we will jump to Macragge in the center, the civilized world of Macragge. It's a fortress world and the home of the Ultramarines, dominated by the rocky uplands and mountains. Its fortress of Hera rises from the craggy peak, and the Temple of Corrections once held the body of Primarch Reboot Gilliman in stasis. The world endured the Tyranid High Fleet behemoth at the Battle of Macragge, and remains the beating heart of the chapter's power. Why is this place the capital world? It doesn't sound like the best, but that's just where Gilliman landed.
Them's the rules, guys.
Them's the rules. They always land on the shittiest planets, and it's up to them to make them better. Yep. Then we got Paramenio, the training world, dedicated to the recruitment and training of Ultramarines neophytes. Paradanium is a dead world. Once a flourishing world, Paradanium was destroyed by High Fleet Behemoth during the First Tyrannic World, leaving a lifeless bedrock and blasted ruin. Nice.
Ooh.
Now you just fly past and like flick like a penny into the hole of it. Make a wish.
Those darn Tyranids.
Yeah.
Too hungry for their own good. We got a few more planets here. We got Protoss, the capital world of the Western Tetrarch. We also have Talisa Prime, which is a fortress world, a seat of the Inquisition's Ordo Xenos, and the Death Watch, where kill teams drawn from chapters across the Imperium are trained to fight the galaxy's alien horrors.
Sorry, before we go on, maybe this should be the Segmentum Fortress instead of Macragge, where it's still part of the Empire, it's still tied in, but like now we got the seat of the Inquisitions there. Maybe does that make more sense?
They're not really governing though. Like Macragge is our governing.
But for the Segmentum Fortress, you don't need to govern. It's more of like a security thing. Like,
I guess it almost kind of is weird when you have. It's almost like when you have a state and federal capital in the same province or territory. Like, why have 2 when you could have 1? But they often do.
Yeah.
So
tuck this away. If you like this place, maybe do some more research on it and email me. We'll see. That's an interesting spot with the Inquisition there. It just could be okay.
Yeah. And then we also have Talisar, the namesake for the contrast paint Talisar Blue, for those curious. It is an ocean world, Natch, a storm-tossed planet of islands and seas, site of a post-heresy battle against orcs and birthplace of Ultramarines hero Caeta Sicarius.
The great. The great Caeta Sicarius. Yep, I love him. I love his name. I'm going to steal it if I have a boy and change out the C to a K. So,
Cato.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Are you going to take the full name? Is his name going to be Caeta Sicarius?
No, it'll be Caeta Sakura. So pretty fucking close, but whatever.
Yeah. Caeta Sicarius, what?
It is interesting. Just while we're talking about Mr. Sicarius, he was. I think is he the Ultramarines chapter champion or?
No, he was the second.
No, he was, but recently when the Primaris took over, he was promoted. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I want to say he's a chapter champion or maybe an honor guard of some kind.
Now he's the commander of the Vicatrix honor guard.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Cool.
Because everyone thought that he was gonna be like, I think there's an early description of him in the Codex where he was thought to be the next in line to take over the chapter. And even
above Egaman or whatever.
Yeah, who's the first company captain. But it looks like he was diverted on his career path. So
someone shafted him.
Railroaded.
Did Reboot Gilliman not like his attitude? Like, look at this guy. He's getting one too many medals. I gotta humble him a bit here, put him in his place before we give him any.
Or it backfired.
And
Reboot liked him so much. He's like, hey, you don't need to lead the Ultramarines. You can come with me and be my personal bodyguard. Keep you close.
What on earth did he like about Caeta Sicarius? You tell us great jokes. Why do I can't help it?
He reminds me of me when I was a young man.
Yeah. Delightful. That's fun. Good for him. I hope he gets a new model. I do like when they do promote models. It happens rarely, and sometimes you do get a cool, not cool new kind of.
Yeah, I do too, actually.
Like not like an upscaled model, but like a newer rank or something. But anyways,
yeah.
I think there was a rumor at one point in time a couple years ago that he was going to get an updated model, but I don't know, that kind of fell through the cracks, I think.
it would be pretty easy to make him. Like we have the Victrix guard. So maybe instead of holding the shield, he's holding his helmet and something like that. Add on his shoulder pad, a couple little conversions like that. I think you could do it pretty easy.
Yeah, that would be sick, honestly.
I like it. Oh yeah, Google some pictures there for us, Gerald. If somebody's made that conversion.
Well, that's an artwork of him with the Victrix honor guard. I'll look for some conversions.
Yeah, cool.
That'd be a sick model. Rumor mill. If you will indulge me, Mark, for a moment. They're thinking that not Gulliman. Who's the chapter master?
Calgar.
No, Calgar. Thank
Marinus
you. Yeah, Marinus Calgar might be having a new model. And what I'm thinking is they're going to change him into Terminator armor instead of aggressor armor.
Yeah.
And they'll probably sell the Victrix separately, which would be the perfect time to include a third Victrix model in the form of Cato Sicarius.
Interesting. Yeah, that would make sense. That'd be cool. Yeah.
All rumors. So
yeah. Yeah, because like Calgar had like a very special suit of Terminator armor himself already, didn't he?
Yeah. So I think it was some kind of special mantle or something. But that was back when I was arguing vehemently that aggressors were the new Terminators. It was precisely because he was wearing aggressor armor, and I'm like, okay, that pretty much confirms that they're replacing Terminator armor with aggressors. But then they brought out Lysander and they brought out the new upscaled Terminators. So now everything's on the table again.
I like it. I like when they do that, when they just really throw us for a loop.
But I don't like now how aggressors are useless. So anyways, we'll carry on.
Well, we got a couple more worlds. We got the triple worlds, Quintarn, Tartanius, and Molasses. And they're three agri-worlds sharing a common center of gravity. They're vast dome cities cultivating lush forests and gardens to feed the realm of Ultramar. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So they're like floating around like some type of gravity hole, or are they just talking about they're all sharing a sun together? Like, hard to say. Yeah. Usually for farming worlds, you need a sun. So I'm going to assume that those three planets are floating around the same sun.
For a second, I was going to say that they're kind of balancing each other out in gravity and they're just rotating around each other.
Oh,
But then you need a sun because how are you going to grow stuff? So
you need a sun. You fucking need one. The final planet is the Vespitator, capital world.
Vespator, you mean?
Yeah, whatever. It's what you do to Vespit. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. No, my reading's been bad. We joked the last time that it was bad, and then I did a whole episode about sitting in the blue chair, learning to read. I read Dr. Seuss 40K nursery rhymes to you guys. It appears the reading lessons didn't take, so I got to do more listener lore, and that's what everyone said, and I didn't do it, and I'm still struggling till I do it. I think so. Here we are.
We see a lot of people asking about it too. Like, there's a dude asking earlier this evening about about it. So
yeah, I gotta get on it. Otherwise, I'll be cursed with shitty reading. But the Vespator, or whatever you guys want to call it, is the capital world of the Eastern Tetrarch, reorganized after the destruction of the Sotheran League. Now observed by Captain Primaris Captain Decimus Felix. Yeah, so they removed any human organization and put it fully under Astartes.
As one does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are the core worlds. That all just makes sense, man. GW, you listen, it's yours. I'll give you this one for free. You can not the Unbound, Chaos Unbound's mine, but this one's yours, GW. Have it. There are some notable celestial objects. There's so many fun, like random little, like, oh, this one satellite that can shoot you into a moon, or just weird. I don't know, man. Whatever. But there are two big celestial objects we'll talk about: the Maelstrom and the Storm of the Emperor's Wrath.
All right. As our viewers can tell by the screen, we're talking about the Maelstrom next. The Maelstrom, that howling wound in the firmament, is among the galaxy's oldest scars, an ancient warp rift yawning near the galactic core in the Ultima Segmentum. To the Imperium's administratum, the cursed expanse bears the lifeless name of Maelstrom Adjacent Autonomous Imperial Resource Extraction Zone Grid 004-357. But to those who have seen its storms boil across the void, it is simply damnation incarnate. I like that one better.
Damnation.
Damnation.
What in damnation? Oh, man. Unlike the unnatural eye of terror birthed in the soul scream of Slanesh, the Maelstrom festers as a natural rupture in reality, a storm older than the Imperium itself. Warp tempests rage within it, shredding fleets and devouring worlds until the region became a place where lawful travel dies and only the desperate dare to tread. The Maelstrom Zone is more than a navigational nightmare. It is a crucible of horror. For millennia, its cursed currents have offered sanctuary to outlaws, heretics, and renegades too vile to find haven elsewhere. Entire orc empires, 20 or more by Imperial reckoning, claw and riot within its bounds. Crud infestations fester in the darkened reaches, their entropy bleeding into every star. Pirate dynasties of fallen men carve out realms of blood and ash, their void hulks preying upon any ship that dares the storm lanes. Every world, every rock, every shadow of the Maelstrom is tainted by warp energies, poisoning flesh and spirit alike. Yet still, the Imperium does not yield. From bastions like Badab and beyond, the Emperor's servants cast their fleets against the madness, seeking to cage the uncageable, to hold fast the light of humanity against the endless storms.
Yeah, cool. The Maelstrom, just the craziest warp storm that's always been there. It appears to always will be there. I have a theory I'd like to share about the Maelstrom, but first I want to talk about the Storm of the Emperor's Wrath and the theory I have for that, because you got to know that one to get to know the other one.
All right.
Okay, let's get in. Go for it.
The Storm of the Emperor's Wrath is a colossal warp storm that has raged unbroken since the dark days of the Age of Apostasy. Unlike many other tempests of the Imperium, its fury is believed by the ecclesiarchy to be no mere accident of the warp, but a divine punishment called forth by the Emperor himself. In their creed, this storm was unleashed to forever mark the heretical arrogance of Goj Vandire, the blasphemous High Lord who sought to seize the Imperium during the 36th millennium. Though millennia have passed, the storm still churns with unnatural persistence. A void of howling madness and sundered stars, its very existence regarded as a holy warning etched across the galaxy. The Emperor's wrath may yet smite those who dare corrupt his throne.
Yeah, cool. I like the mythos there of this was done by the Emperor to smite this guy. That's what that's what the ecclesiarchy tells you, at Sunday school. But what about this? What if this is actually the birth of the Emperor, as a chaos god, this storm? It's not the biggest in the galaxy, but it's still pretty fucking big. And during this time period, this is when the ecclesiarchy starts to go hard. And it's not that this chaos entity is actually the Emperor. The Emperor's still on the golden throne doing his thing. But if you get enough people getting in enough frantic devotion to something, boom, did they just create, the fifth chaos god, the Emperor type spirit,
I like it as a theoretical.
Yes.
we obviously don't want it to advance any further than that, and then have the Emperor rise as a god and change the entire nature of 40K. But yeah, I could buy into that. Slanesh birthed the Eye of Terror. Why wouldn't the Emperor birth a new storm?
Which leads me into the Maelstrom theory. So what birthed the Maelstrom? And I get so much flack about my middle-age chaos gods being born, but like, to me, they were all born during the Middle Ages, so they were born basically all the same time. So this is the birth of all three chaos gods, Nurgle, Khorne, and Tzeentch, because it's pretty much always been there, and it is the biggest of all of them because it has the most gods in it.
But it's smaller than the Eye of Terror, right?
No, I don't think it is.
Is it bigger?
Yeah,
I thought it was smaller. I could be wrong, but I just assumed it was smaller.
I'm gonna find a map of the galaxy before the Great Rift.
But that's kind of my theory. It makes sense if these massive storms turn out to always be entities being born.
If it's bigger than the Eye of Terror, I'll give you that. If it's smaller than the Eye of Terror, I won't concede.
Yeah. And then once again, we stack the caveat of we don't actually want any of it to be confirmed.
Right, exactly. These are just myths and rumors and mad ramblings of Mark on the streets of New York.
Yes, naked, cardboard stein in hand. The end is nigh. Yes. Okay. Well, Joe's pulling up that final map to figure out what's what. We'll jump to the eastern fringe and the last little. Sorry.
Hold on 1 sec. Sorry, I just want to say one more thing about the Storm of the Emperor's Wrath. Apparently, as per my Reddit searching just now, they keep moving it on the map. Whenever the GW prints official maps, it keeps moving around.
Okay.
And this one Redditor says, at first I thought it was just incompetence, but by now I'm certain they're doing it on purpose. Which, who knows if it's a paranoid delusion or if it's, yeah. I just think it's funny.
Yeah. That is nice.
The Emperor, blessed be his name, is angry in different places. So.
That is nice, yeah.
Where did it go? All right. Here we go. Best one I could find. Before the Great Rift, here's the Eye of Terror right here. And then here's the Maelstrom at the center. They're pretty close.
Yeah.
I'd argue the Maelstrom may be just like a tad bit bigger.
Yeah. All right. Mark, you're winning me over.
Yes, I love when that happens. I didn't even have to get to violence.
My question would be, was it there before? When did they discover the Maelstrom?
Like, according to humans, it was always there.
Yeah. I wonder if it's something, they could have even observed from far away. You don't have to be there to know that it's there. Like, we know there's black holes in places, and we know, like, as soon as humanity could gaze that far into the stars, they could see it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I could see that argument.
Nice. I don't know. All right, well, we'll shift our focus to the Eastern Fringe and last little bit of our notes here. If anyone's in the call-in show wants to call in, I did drop a link there. If you have your own crazy theory, I suppose now's the chance. The Eastern Fringe is the farthest reach of the galaxy, a desolate frontier that lies beyond the full grasp of the Imperium, and just ripe for cowboys. Though adjacent to the Ultima Segmentum, it is not normally bound within its domain, existing instead as a wild expanse at the very edge of the stars. Here, the Astronomican's holy light falters, leaving vast swaths of space in shadow, where Imperial ships sail half-blind, vulnerable to the predations of Xenos and the treachery of the warp. The Eastern Fringe birthed the Tau Empire, a growing power that gnaws at the Imperium's borders, and a whisper speaking of the ancient Necron Sotek dynasty stirring upon its worlds. Their tomb legends rising to reclaim their tomb worlds rising to reclaim what was once theirs. Scattered across the void lie forgotten and isolated human colonies, some clinging to imperial ways, others sunk into barbarism and heresy, while untold Xenos empires thrive, hidden and largely unknown. To the Imperium, the Eastern Fringe is both opportunity and doom, a frontier where expansion meets annihilation and where the very voyage into the dark risks awakening powers best left buried. Yeah, the Eastern Fringe. You just go so far, you don't even see the Emperor anymore. You're cold, you're lonely. It's not good there. You get a bunch of cool stuff like the Halo stars and the Ghoul stars in this area, and just like all types of weird anomalies that you just can't really even get to. Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, that was our journey into the Ultima Segmentum. There's that. Maybe I'll drop some polls. I think my big question is, what planet do we nominate officially as the Fortress Segmentum for the south side? Is it going to be McCraig, or is it going to be Teleresa Prime with the Inquisition homeworld? So maybe we'll make a poll. You guys can work that out. We'll email that off to the administration and get it all sorted out. Cool. Any other thoughts you guys had?
Just a quick factoid about the Storm of the Emperor's Wrath. That storm wiped out the Fraterus Templar when Goj Van Dyer took over them, which we didn't mention. They were like the male precursors to the Sisters of Battle, for those who aren't familiar with them. And that's what was kind of like why it was seen as the Emperor's will. And it wiped out the Fraterus Templar. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. It's like in real history, the Mongols tried to invade Japan, and their invasion fleets were destroyed by typhoons twice. Like that just obliterated their fleet on two completely separate occasions. And then that's what led to the Japanese coming up with the term kamikaze, which means divine wind. Like it's their gods protecting them and destroying their enemy fleets. And I think there might be some similarity there where like a divine storm wipes out their enemies.
Yeah. But I didn't know that's what kamikaze meant.
Yeah. It also means a guy who's about to mess up your ship, but that was much later. Yeah.
I did look at James Bondius, if he was the 8th company captain. He sadly was not. Sometimes they're called the Blood Hades, and sometimes they're called the Blood Blades. But
man, it's so bad.
Yeah. Either way, they're led by Captain Zed Reneliel. I'll put in the chat here, and maybe one of you guys can say that name a little bit better. But it looks pretty angel-like to me, that name. So, yeah, I think, Christian, drop all your projects that you're doing and work on the Wolves of Blood. No, sorry. The
Angel Wolves.
Angel Wolves, yeah.
Wolf Angels or Angel Wolves, which has a better
Wolf Angels, I think. Yeah, I think it has to be Wolf Angels.
All right. I'll get right on that.
It's glorious, man. There's just so many bits you could use.
I know.
Oh, man. And do you make wolves with angel wings on them? Like these weird, like, yeah, fuck yeah, like little baby servitor things with. Why not, man? It's the Imperium.
Why?
No one's gonna bat an eye.
Sir, why does that wolf? Why did you stitch wings to your dog's back?
We're the angel wolves. The wolves of angel. Yeah, fucking hell. Okay, well, one last thought. What's the high gothic name for that? Wolfus Analus?
Anus.
Oh, God. Yeah, okay. I'll make the rules. I just abide by. Cool. That was a fun episode, boys. Who would have known we could have learned so much about the Ultima Segmentum? We got coming episodes. We're going to dive into the 3 that we haven't done and kind of carry on this vibe and just kind of tear apart the galaxy, see what we find. So see y'all on the next one. If you want to come listen to me on Lorehammer Listen to Lore podcast, I think I owe 5 episodes. I got to get my reading back on point. I got to either, I don't know, start taking enhancing drugs or something, but we got to get it back on point. So come check me out on Lorehammer Listen to Lore.
Yeah, and if you like the world of Star Wars, come check myself out and Jordan on the Star Lores podcast, where we explore the galaxy far, far away.
And if you like a more localized fantasy setting, come to the Grimlore podcast and hear us talk about Warhammer Fantasy and some Age of Sigmar. So
nice. I love it. All right. See you all in the next episode.